Again, today we'll be talking about the past decade, my comic book collecting hobby here. Uh, as I'm talking here, I'm going to be just showing dollar books I picked up through a sale. I figured this is an easier way to show everything instead of just looking at a blank screen or looking at, a ruggedly handsome face. But, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about just retrospective, uh, no notes written, no, no, nothing prepared. This is shooting straight from the hip here. And basically, I'm just going to go back to starting at 2009, 2010. Uh, After my first kid was born, I had to basically jump off the train for a while with collecting and stuff like that. But 2010, everything started going back to normal a little bit. And, but I wasn't really, let's just say I didn't really have a pull list at that time from like basically 2000 to 2010. It was one of the things where I just go to the grocery store as the wife was shopping or something. I'd go look through a couple issues every month, and you know, I was doing the old school pirate thing, the making a library instead of but yeah, and it was basically all DC stuff because I think by that time Marvel was out of the newsstand business. I think they just went strictly to direct market. Correct me if I'm wrong, but pretty sure because it seemed like the only thing they had was DC Comics. They had the Archie stuff like Archie, Sonic, yeah, Betty Veronica, all that kind of stuff. They always had, but um, so flash forward to about 2011, 2012. That 2012 was the first free comic book day that I went to in a long time. I went to one earlier in the previous decade, but it was something that I just didn't, you know, family issues and stuff like that, kids and stuff, just didn't have the time to do it. So I went back in like 2012, and that was when the New 52 was just ramping up pretty. It was like issue 4 and 5 just came out, I guess, at that time. And that day, I came home and I did a video on YouTube. That was my first YouTube video on, was it May 5th, 2012? And it was like a minute and 30 seconds. I rattled it off so fast. It was watching his videos now, man, it was cracking me up. It was like I was so nervous. Hurry up and did the video. But later that day, I went back and started a pull list at two different stores. And the four titles I put on were Batman, uh, Detective Comics, The Walking Dead, and I think it was Green Lantern, if I remember correctly. So it started off right there. Then, as the years went by in 2014, 15, I had it up to, I think by 2016, I was already up to at least 25 titles on my pull list. And, the 299 to 399 a piece, that's a pretty penny. I mean, it's small to some, but large to others. But so the height of my pull list was probably 2016. Um, it was just it just started getting crazy at that time, and I was behind stuff and reading everything like Swamp Thing, Animal Man. I just was loving all of it. And around 2016, you could just tell stuff started slowly. It just wasn't having the same effect, you know. So 2016, 2017, 2018, where my list started dwindling, into 2019, I'm basically back down to four titles. So that just, you know, that should tell you something about this decade as far as my collecting goes. And I'm a run collector. I enjoy the reading stories. I'm not, if I see keys and stuff like that, I will buy them. But it's not something I go looking for, to for my collection or anything like that. But so as going on here, so basically right now I'm down, and I think I'm going to be starting off 2020 with a even smaller pull list. It's probably going to be down to one or two issues. Everything I liked has been canceled, or just they stopped making them. I also just didn't, a lot of these modern stories aren't doing it for me. And I sort of blame it on the facsimiles, believe it or not. Uh, reading through those old stories and stuff like that, you just appreciate how, and I hate to sound like a freaking old man here, but just the stories were a lot better back then. Uh, I'm sure, kids, 13-year-olds in 20 or 30 years are going to be saying the same thing about the comics that were made today, but you just feel like, oh man. But as I was reading the facsimiles, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm dropping Immortal Hulk, I think, after issue 30. It's like, I really loved that series at the beginning, and just, it's gone off the rails a little bit. But, like I said, so basically that was my pull list through the decade. I mean, it was small at the beginning, and it's small now. So it went up pretty high. I think like 25 was my peak. Like I was at 25 issues or titles on my pull list. Then it just went down. Um, as far as comic book prices, I keep hearing it like the comics too high. Prices too high. I don't think they've ever been cheaper. To be honest with you. Yeah, brand new issues off the rack. Yes, they're ridiculous. That's sort of another reason why I'm slowly but surely dwindling my pull list to nothing. I'll always have Batman on there because I'm not gonna ruin my streak here of hundreds of issues in a row. But it's just I'm not gonna spend that kind of money on stuff I'm basically for something that'll be in a trade for a lot less than a couple weeks or a couple months. So basically, like I said, it's never been cheaper. I mean, I've gone through. If you go to a con or anything like that, yeah, you gotta fix in the price of the ticket and stuff like that. But dollar back issue dollar bins have never been more available. When I was growing up, there was never anything like that. Dollar bins. I mean, once in a while you get like somebody having like a sale or something like that, but it was rare. Nowadays, I mean, you go into some of these bigger stores, and they got rows, rows and rows of just dollar books, and they're all good books. And I've had through this decade, you know, 10-cent sales, 12-cent sales, 25-cent sales, uh, just cheap. So it sort of gets old hearing that, oh, the comics are too expensive. No, they're not. They're probably more cheap than they've ever been, as far as non-key issues. I mean, and Bronze Age, Copper Age, they're really cheap. And if you look, yeah, if you best thing you can do, stop buying newer issues, save your money up, and get a nice long box of some Bronze Age, Copper Age. There's some good stories out there. Even modern books. I mean, like this. Yeah, I know I was going to talk about the books. This book's not that old. I mean, but yeah, ended up getting it for $1, a third of what the cover price was. So, like I said, and plus a lot of the newer issues, since I got to buy the variants and stuff like that, they got to go. They end up buying way too much stock, and they go into the quarter bins faster than they've been in years. I mean, so play the waiting game. You always win out. The other thing is with variants, they don't bother me. I mean, I know people get all bent out of shape about it, but um, you don't have to buy them. The other reason people care about the variants is because they don't want to buy the one that that's not worth anything. That's the truth. People, like, it's not the '90s again. It's not nothing like that. They just want to make sure they bought the book that's going to be worth something. And that's the only reason why people care about all these variants. If they got the right variant, they wouldn't give two rats' asses about how many variants there are. Me, I think I always try to get cover A. I don't like any of the variants. I hate the way DC does their Virgin covers. At first, it's cool. Now we're going on like almost 2 years of that. So I've always been a cover A person. Something's cool, hey, I'll buy it. But I'm not gonna, cry my eyes at it because I didn't get the right issue. It's not worth, all of a sudden worth $30 next week. But again, that's my opinion on variants. There's not too many variants. I mean, hell, if it's put more artists to work, more power to them. If it's not, bringing you a $20 instant eBay, selling price, well, that's too bad. As for different titles and stuff like that, speaking of like, this has probably been the decade, or at least the half decade of the flipper, speculator, whatever you want to call them. I don't care about them either. They don't bother me. Yeah, it stinks when you go, you're buying an issue off the rack or anything like that, and then everybody wants to jump on it. Like I was buying, case in point, I was buying my daughter that Scooby-Doo team up. Back in, I think it was like 2014 or something like that, and it was the one with the Harley Quinn appearance. And I was buying it off the rack for her. Nobody was buying this damn book. And so I was buying it every month, and I still happened to grab a copy of it. I had a copy of it. It's the only one I have in my collection here for her. It's her book, but I just put it aside just because I know everybody was flipping out about it. But it was one of them books that I just imagined like somebody. There's probably at least dozens of fathers, mothers, whatever that did the same thing I was doing, buying it off the rack. It's a kid's book. So I was like, I went to go get it, and it was so happened the guy I knew put it aside for me, so I ended up getting it. So I grabbed it that way. But if I didn't know the person running the store, I mean, that would have been like a hole in the collection. Yeah, she has every other issue. She still has them all these years. But my point being is, flippers went and grabbed that book up, try to sell it for $20, $30. Yeah, it's pointless. Like, I don't understand it. I get it. Trying to make money, but that's great. But so I guess overall, basically, what I'm trying to say is I knew we were in trouble. I think it was like 2014. When I say we, the hobby, I knew that all these flippers, scalpers, whatever the hell you want to call them, were going to come into the hobby after 2014. And that, if you remember correctly, that's when that Superman book sold for 3.2 million. I knew as soon as people heard that, it was over, or it was just begun. So as we as 2015, 2016, you could see these, like, all the same issues. Like I've told people before, I bought most of my Daredevil Silver Age collection. I bought it through $1 and $3 bins. The majority of it, everything from issue 10 to like 44. That's all the Silver Age stuff I bought. Came through $1, and they're decent books. I couldn't even sniff those books nowadays for that price. It just, and it's funny because it's true, because I've gone to the same shops and stuff to look for those books and stuff like that, and there's a $20, $25 price tags on the same condition. And I say good, the same condition is like 3.0. All of a sudden now they were $3 all those years ago. Now it's $25, and it's just because everybody's buying them up. It doesn't matter if it's the first appearance of Salty McNuts. People are buying it. If it ends up on the app, or a top 10 show, people are buying it. But as other people are coming in, just buying books, the key books, it's driving the prices on all of them up, which is great. I mean, hey, who doesn't want books that are worth a little bit of cash? But the thing is, it's really short-term thinking, basically. Because what's going to happen is all these people are buying these books for a pretty decent price, and what happens, this has happened before in this hobby, is when everybody goes to sell, they usually all sell at the same time. So the market's going to be like flooded with all these books that people think are worth something, and it's not, and it's going to drive people away from the hobby. You know, even the part-time speculators, it's going to drive them away from the hobby, and it's one of those times like they're not coming back ever again. They can't. Some of them maybe came back the second time, but yeah, when you're 40, 50 years old, you're not coming back the third time. That's just reality. So I always, it's been said on here 1,000 times through the years with different channels. Buy what you like. You'll never go wrong. Like, I love my Batman collection. It's something I've been collecting since I was 14. And I'm like, what, 20 now? A good 6 years, and yeah, it's more like Christ. I mean, it's about 30 years I've been collecting. So uh, when I say collecting, actually having a pull list. Wait, I think it's even longer than that. 32 years now. God, man, it's depressing. I'm not trying to depress anything, anybody. But as I'm saying, like, everybody sells at the same time, and it just drives people away from the hobby. It gives the hobby a black eye. Um, then we've had also, through the last half of the decade, the rise of the independent creators, we'll call them. I hate that word creator, but yeah, but it's what the people know them by. Uh, just all these different books coming out, and it's pretty cool actually. It's making me, move away from the DC Marvel stuff, and I am a DC guy. I've always been my whole life, but it's hard to like the stuff that's coming out now. It'll change in a couple of years. Hope if there is, they're still making books and stuff like that. But I'm like going more into different kinds of books, like this one, the stuff that I'm showing you currently here. Uh, just breathing new life into the hobby. Not necessarily worth a whole hell of a lot. That's great. I'd rather fans have books accessible to them than having to pay through the nose and be bitter down the end, 3-4 years from now. It's always better to have a reader base in this comic book hobby. Without the readers, this hobby dies instantly. Speculators, you need them too. You need everybody, basically. You can't turn away anybody either. But without the readers in this hobby, it's not. It just won't last. We've been living off the fumes of the '90s, '80s to these past couple decades, and that's the truth. I mean, the hanger-ons here, the diehards, the run collectors, the backbone of the hobby, the people that are buying all the the non-key issues, um, people that are just buying the oddball books. Uh, those are the people that are keeping this hobby going. It's not the you know people buying Scooby Doo team up and trying to sell it on eBay for $20. I mean, it's nice to have that $4 sale at the comic shops, but but going forward, like I said, I see myself through the next decade. Maybe I should make a separate video, but I'll just keep going. How long have I been going on for here? About 18 minutes? This is a record for me, I think. At going through the hobby, I think by the middle of the next decade, like I said, I'll be down to one book. I'll be hopefully a little bit lighter in my collection. I've been going through it through the past 2 years now, just pulling stuff I want to get rid of. I'm hoping to do a flea market run here in the summer. I'll definitely vlog it, I guess. You'll see how I do. I'll be doing videos leading up to my sale date and stuff like that. And it's not going to be a lot. It's about it's on my. If you've followed my channel for a while now, it's a running joke. I've had the same like 6 long boxes in my closet that I've been trying to sell for 10 years now. And I just never get around to doing it. But I see myself having my collection a little bit lighter, and I see myself completing my Batman 100, the current run. I see it getting completed in the next 5 years. Yes, I will get that Batman 121. That's going to be one of the things I work on. But as far as buying new issues, I see myself selling a lot of my trades. I see myself next decade using the library a lot more. Buying, because I got a ton of trades. You read them once, very few I read multiple times, like The Watchmen. I read that. I read Dark Knight Returns, Killing Joke. Those are books I always read. Yeah, I'm not going to read 100 Bullets again. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to buy. It's going to be specific things I'm going to buy that it's going to have a rereadable. Is that a word? Rereadable function there. So that's what I see myself. I see myself. I don't see myself dollar bin diving too much unless it's alphabetized. There's a sale around here that does it uh, like quarterly or something like that. So I'll go through that stuff, but I'm not going to buy a bunch of books that I just don't plan on having in a collection anymore. So I'm going to be more specific things I buy. But that's about it. So I was reminiscing about the previous decade and got a little bit into the future. Maybe I'll do a separate video for the future, but spend a couple minutes to basically my goals for the year too, for my New Year's resolution. Yeah, keep organizing my books and sell some of the books for at the flea market. And I'm only doing dollar books, I think, so make it a lot easier for sales. All right, thanks for watching. Have a happy New Year. Hope your collecting goals all come true. You get your pull list or your your want list or whatever. And also that this year I have no want list. I'm gonna finish up the 4 issues I need on my last want list, and I'm just gonna fly. Whatever comes my way, I'm gonna just accept. All right, thanks for watching. Check out my Instagram. I'll leave a link down below. And all right, I'll talk to you next time.